Greetings. My name is Dr. Shaun Black. I am a superintendent candidate for the superintendent position in the Allentown School District in Pennsylvania. This presentation is a PowerPoint presentation of my 90-day entry plan for the Allentown School District. As we begin the presentation, I would like us to frame the entry plan based on what is important to all of us as stakeholders, the students in the Allentown School District, and their success. This presentation is broken into 6 different sections. Section 1, the introduction. Section 2, the goals. Section 3, expected outcomes. Section 4, the phases. Section 5, timeline of the phases. And then the closing will be section 6. The introduction to the 90-day plan consists of level setting and norming around the purpose of this document and its importance to the entry and successful tenure if I am chosen to be the superintendent. And the paramount purpose of the entry plan is to make it very clear that if I am chosen as superintendent, one of the first things I will do is authentically engage all stakeholders in the future vision and success of the school district. What is that vision of success in Allentown? Also, the introduction also conveys the importance of learning more about school district, firsthand information about the school district from multiple stakeholder groups. But also, this is a transition plan, and it's very important that ideas are shared, strategies are shared to improve the overall student experience. The importance of this slide is once again to convey the imperative of how I view this position, and I do believe that together we can build the brightest future for every student. There are 5 goals that this entry plan hopes to achieve. The first goal, of course, is student success. Number 2, support for improved outcomes. 3, family and community engagement. 4, advancing the equity initiative. And 5, organizational efficiency. Goal number 1 of this 90-day plan is to truly define what student success is in the Allentown School District. And when you're defining success is once again from multiple stakeholders, where they believe student success looks like, what it consists of, and what does it feel like. But also, what are their current challenges to student success in the district? How we evaluate, what metrics we'll use to determine what student success is. And then what does student success look like at both the district level and school level, but also what are the improvements that need to happen at both the school level and district level for it to happen, materialize in Allentown. Goal number 2 of this 90-day plan is to really define what is support for improved outcomes. It's very hard to hold anyone accountable for goals or any type of measurables if there's not support provided. Therefore, it's very important for every stakeholder to really define what is support for improved outcomes. What does support look like from the community? What does support look like for district leaders, parents, school leaders, students, teachers? Once again, without support, accountability for improved student outcomes cannot be achieved. Support is very important, and it's very important for it to be defined in this 90-day period. Goal number 3 of this 90-day plan is family and community engagement. It's very important within the first 90 days to authentically engage the community in the school improvement process. The research from the University of Chicago is very clear on this topic, that for school improvement to occur, there must be authentic engagement of the community. Therefore, community engagement, in my eyes, is really to listen and to seek feedback from the school community on the ongoing school improvement process. What's working well? What do we need to tweak? And what really needs to be addressed? I think that's very important for the community to weigh in on those things and to share their experiences with the new superintendent. And then lastly, I do believe it's very important you're going to engage the community, that you have an effective communication strategy, and that you develop a rhythm for external communication with the community, and then it becomes the norm. Goal number 4 of this 90-day plan is to continue the work that Allentown has done in the equity space. So to be very clear, to advance the equity initiative in the district. I believe in building upon success, and the work that has been done in this space in Allentown is to be commended. Therefore, I believe in this 90 days, first 90 days, it should be important to conduct a SWOT analysis of the equity initiative. Where are we? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? And what are our threats to the equity initiative? I believe key stakeholders provide the feedback needed for this to be an effective SWOT analysis of the equity initiative. And then I believe it's very important for the board of directors to receive a detailed plan about what advancing equity in Allentown will look like moving forward. Once again, I believe in building on success, not coming in and making wholesale changes. But once again, equity is a big initiative in the district. There's been a lot of momentum and success in this area. So let's see what we can do to continue moving in the right direction with this initiative. Goal number 5 of this 90-day plan is to look at organizational efficiency. And once again, to achieve organizational efficiency, you have to have a strong governance team. So the school board of directors and the superintendent have to be on one accord. And to achieve that, I plan to meet with individual members to learn about their passions and what drives them to serve in this role to help children, and how I can help them be an advocate for children in Allentown. When you're looking at organizational efficiency, once again, you have to look at the inputs versus the outputs. What are we investing in? What you invest in is an indication of what your priorities are. And if things are our priorities, we're investing huge sums of state taxpayer dollars in things. What are we getting out of it? How are the students benefiting from it? That's very important to know. Lastly, you have to analyze your systems. How do people get work done? That's very important in any organization. So I do believe a SWOT analysis on the academic systems and non-academic systems. So for academic systems, what are we doing around professional development? What are we doing around curriculum? What are we doing about instruction? And for the non-academic, what are we doing around purchasing services? What does that look like? That's the goal of this 90-day plan, is to really take a deep look at those things and to really have a strategy out of that of how we can improve organizational efficiency moving forward. Now we will segue into the expected outcomes. There are 5 expected outcomes of this 90-day plan. Number 1 outcome is to develop a new strategic plan based upon the feedback, interactions with the community, looking at the data. What is the new strategy for Allentown to achieve student success? Next, the second expected outcome will be district level initiatives to increase student success at scale. What do we need to do? What do we need to do differently to increase student success at scale? I think it's very important when you start having initiatives and goals to establish the metrics that will assess how well we are doing. For the number 1 reason, to celebrate that success. You want to celebrate success. That's how you improve morale in the district, not just with employees, but also with students, that they are celebrated. You have to celebrate people. And what metrics will we use to celebrate people? But also, those same metrics will define our challenges. What are our challenges? What do we need to focus on? The next expected outcome, to improve the effectiveness of the district level systems. It's very important to have cohesive district level systems to improve how business is done academically and non-academically in the school district. Lastly, the goal of this 90-day plan, the expected outcome, is to really identify core values and a way of work to inspire all stakeholders to positively impact student outcomes. What do we believe? What do we hold true to student success? How we go about doing that? And then those things we believe in will impact student outcomes. Now we will segue into the phases of the 90-day plan. The first phase is the listening tour. The second phase, reflections and action planning. The third phase, development of recommendations. And then the final phase, report findings to the Board of School Directors. The first phase of the 90-day plan is the listening tour, and the goal is to learn from the school community. Surveys will be one tool used to assess what is going on in the school community. In-person and virtual listening sessions. And then lastly, meeting with individual board members to determine the possible areas of district improvement. So those three spaces will allow for a lot of stakeholder feedback to really develop some ideas and strategies around what the new superintendent should be focused on. Reflections and action planning is the second phase of this 90-day plan. And what we will do in this phase, we will apply the key takeaways from the listening tour. So we will reflect on the qualitative data from community stakeholders, apply a thematic analysis to determine possible areas of improvement. We'll reflect on the listening sessions feedback. We'll also reflect on quantitative data for possible areas of district improvement. And then lastly, we will draft district level initiatives and priorities grounded in the feedback and input from the Allentown school community. The next phase is develop recommendations. So we will develop an implementation strategy, And in that implementation strategy, we're going to develop a coherent multi-year district improvement strategy grounded in feedback from the community. We will develop both short and long-term goals for district level and school level success. We will once again, as I mentioned earlier, develop metrics or establish metrics to assess and what defines institutional progress. So as an institution, as an educational institution, how will we define progress? If student success is one of our chief goals, how will we define that we are going in the right direction? How will we define that we're not going in the right direction and it's time to course correct or reevaluate what we're doing or what we are focused on? And then lastly, if you're going to do any type of implementation, you have to have project managers. People have to oversee the implementation of these various initiatives. So a big part of developing an implementation strategy is to develop project managers to oversee different aspects or different initiatives and priorities in this improvement process. Once again, it's hard to hold people accountable if they are not the owners of different aspects of the work that's key and important to student success and to the success of the entire district. The final phase of this 90-day entry plan is to report the major findings to the Board of School Directors, but also to share the findings with the entire Allentown community. These findings will serve as the underpinnings for the new strategic plan for the district. Lastly, the findings in this 90-day entry plan that will be shared with the Board of School Directors and the Allentown community will be what guides my work for the remainder of my first year. Timeline of phases. There are 4 phases in this timeline. The first 30 days will conclude in mid-February, and then we will shift to the next 30 days, which will end in early April, and then we will shift to the final 30 days at the end of May. So when we get to phase 4, the post 90-day phase, that's when we can expect the report to go to the school board of directors and to the community. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to my 90-day entry plan. I do believe this 90-day entry plan will do a lot in terms of not only listening to the community, but also seeking feedback to guide the work that I plan to do in Allentown if I am chosen to be your superintendent. I want to conclude and I want to close my presentation by bringing us back to where we started. A superintendent is about one thing, in my opinion, and that is the success of young people. So as I close, my goal is their success. My goal is the success of the children I am chosen to serve. Thank you again for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Have a great day.